Hello students, this is the first class of online bio of class 9. I'm starting with the chapter The Flower. It is a very small chapter and is a very easy chapter, so I'm starting with it. Now, flower is a very familiar word to us and is a very familiar thing to us because we all can see various kinds of flowers around us, but we need to know the technical and scientific definition of it. It is a specialized shoot in which the leaves are modified into floral structures. Now, there are 4 whorls of a flower. We all have seen lots of flowers around us, but I think we have not observed so minutely ever. So now when you see next time a flower, you will get to see there are 4 whorls of a flower or 4 layers of a flower. First whorl are the green sepals, which we collectively called as calyx. The second whorl or the second layer are the colored petals, which we collectively called as corolla. Third whorl or the layer are known as stamens, which are collectively known as androecium. It has got 2 parts, filament and anther. And the fourth whorl or the layer are the pistils, called collectively as gynoecium, and it has got 3 parts, ovary, style and stigma. Now, as you know, flower is the reproductive organ of a plant. So these third and fourth whorls are the reproductive parts of the flower. Now, we'll see a typical structure of a typical flower and we'll understand all the whorls properly. See, this is the diagram of a typical bisexual flower where we can see the green portion, which is the first whorl or sepals. There we can see a swollen part which we call as receptacle, and just at the base of the receptacle you can see the stalk part. After the sepals there is the colored part which is called as petals, and after the petals or within the petals we can see the male part stamen. Stamen is divided into 2 parts, anther and filament, and in the middle we can see the female part, pistil, which is divided into 3 main parts, stigma, style and ovary, and within that is the ovule. So this is the typical structure of a flower, the basic structure of a flower which we can see. Now we'll go through some definitions which are very important for this chapter. You need to learn it. First one is complete flower. It contains all the 4 types of floral structures. That means calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Incomplete flower means if any one of these sets of floral structures are missing, either any one of them or maybe more of them, then we call it as incomplete flower. Now, which are the essential parts of a flower? Essential parts are those which are directly concerned with the reproduction of the plant. And non-essential parts are those that protect the reproductive parts of a flower or make the flower attractive for pollination, but is not directly involved in reproduction. I hope it's clear. Now, another very important term which we need to know in this chapter is perianth. When the petals and sepals are undifferentiated, it is together called as perianth. The perianth is a very, very important term which we need to know. In certain flowers, we can see an undifferentiated structure where we cannot differentiate or separate petals and sepals. We call them as perianth. The perianth are of 2 types, petaloid and sepaloid. Petaloids means they are colored and sepaloid means they are always green in color. Another very important structure which we can see in some of the plants, that is bract. One example is very common, bougainvillea. Those who have gardens, those who have bougainvillea plant at their homes, they can see. When a flower arises in the axil of a leaf-like structure, this is known as bract. Now we'll see a picture of the bract. This is the picture of a bract. See, the flowers are very tiny and they are present in the axil of a leaf-like structure. So I hope it's clear for you. Another term, nectaries. Nectaries means groups of nectar secreting cells. And nectaries are situated at the base of the pistil or on the bases of the petals. This location is very important because you might get question of proper location and proper function. So for the exact location, you need to learn this, that they are situated at the base of the pistil or gynoecium. Okay, and example is nasturtium. There are many other flowers where we can find nectaries, because these are the nectaries only from where the insects, honeybees, they get or collect the nectars. Clear? Now, some terms I'm going to explain to you, like hermaphrodite or perfect flower. That means those flowers which contains both the male and female organs, or we also call it as hermaphrodite or bisexual flower. Those flowers which has only one of these parts, that is either stamens or carpels, we call them as unisexual or imperfect flower. Now, a unisexual flower which contains only the stamens, we can call them as staminate flower. And just the opposite, unisexual flower which contains only the carpels, we can call them pistillate flowers, because they are containing only pistils, the female reproductive organ. Okay. Neuter flower are those flowers which are lacking both the male and female reproductive organs. That means stamens are also not present and pistils are also not present. And the example is a very common example, that is sunflower. Okay. Now, functions of the floral parts. Very important part of this chapter, and these functions I have not written because these are there all in your book. So please go through them. I am just explaining each one of them. Like calyx, as you know, as we have seen in the diagram, that it is green in color. So we all know that green means they will definitely perform photosynthesis and they will protect the young flowers. Corolla, because they are very attractive, they are colorful petals, that is why they will attract insects for pollination, which is very, very important for the reproduction purpose. And for both the calyx and corolla, two terms we have to remember. One is polysepalous, gamosepalous, another is polypetalous and gamopetalous. Now you have to remember that poly means free and gamo means fused. They cannot be separated. In both the cases, these two are applicable. Now, for androecium, that means for the male reproductive parts, their function is definitely giving out pollen grains for dispersal, and for gynoecium, because it is the female reproductive part, its main function is obviously the fertilization. Okay, students, for today this much, and please go through your chapter. Thank you.